What's up, everybody? This is BB Davis. You're locked in. We're taking a look at week 3 for college. Let's get into it, everybody. All right. Thank you so much, VIPs, for locking in. There's a lot of sports that's going to be happening, a lot of talk. I'm sure by now, if you're listening into the current breaking news, okay, breaking news. Aaron Rodgers is out for the season. That is a dagger. Everybody who are like true sport fans, people are sending their condolences. It went down last night, September the 11th. Resilient Monday. Some people call it Victory Monday. I call it Resilient Monday, remembering 9/11, never forget. And, the Jets faced off with the Buffalo Bills. Now, of course, myself, I picked the Bills. But now I got some questions about the Bills, which has nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers, okay? But yeah, right now, the Jets, with signing QB1, Aaron Rodgers coming out, he was gone before you even got into the second quarter. Yeah, we'll talk about all of that. But yeah, that's the breaking news. We will have the on 101 111 uno segment for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. We'll talk about it. But right now, it's just shambles over there. But we're going to get into these week 3 matchups that's coming, and they start on Thursday, September the 14th for college. To be clear. Okay. You're going to have facing off Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. They are 1 of 1. They'll be facing off with the Miami Hurricanes, which is 2-0. They'll be going to Miami. This is going to be Thursday, September 14th at 7:30 p.m. So you can watch that. That's going to be on the ACC network. All right. Then we're going to get back into some more of week 3, so keep it locked. All right, and we got Kansas State facing off with Missouri. This is Saturday games at 12 noon. Penn State faces off with Illinois. Florida State, Boston College, LSU, MS State. That's going to be at 12 noon. Right there, that's the Mississippi State Bulldogs with the LSU Tigers. Weber State faces off of Utah. That starts at 2 p.m. games. 2 p.m. to 2:30, 3:30. And here they are. Central Michigan and Notre Dame. Western Michigan and Iowa. Minnesota and UNC Tar Heels, San Diego State and Oregon. Alabama face off with South Florida. USC Gamecocks with Georgia. That's always going to be a good game right there. And that will be in Georgia. Then you have Oklahoma and Tulsa. 3:30, Northwestern facing off with Duke. Okay, 4 o'clock games is going to be Ohio State will face off with the Western Kentucky. Then from there, keep it locked. 5 o'clock games. Washington, Michigan State. North Carolina Central will face off with UCLA. Northern Kentucky will face off with Washington State. 7 p.m. games. Tennessee will face off with Florida Gators. Georgia Tech faces off with Mississippi. 7:30. 7:30 game. Bowling Green will face off with Michigan. 8 o'clock games. Hawaii will face off with Oregon. Wyoming with Texas. Colorado State with Colorado. So these are going to be some of the college matchups. And I will do my picks. That will be on Wednesday. Keep it locked. All right, we got incoming announcements. The MEAC for week 3 Here are the matchups. It's going to be Norfolk State at Temple, Delaware State at Richmond, Hampton at Howard, North Carolina Central at UCLA, and Towson at Morgan State. Now, Norfolk State and Temple will be broadcast on ESPN Plus at 2 p.m. Delaware State at Richmond will be not broadcast on ESPN Plus, but it will be at 3:30 p.m. Hampton at Howard, that will be on ESPN Plus 3:30. Towson and Morgan State, 6 p.m. game, ESPN Plus. North Carolina Central at UCLA will not be on ESPN, but that game will start at 5 p.m. Stay locked in. All right, everybody, we have the AP Top 25. Georgia is ranking in at number 1, Michigan at number 2, Florida State number 3, Texas number 4, USC 5, that's USC California, Ohio State 6, Penn State 7, Washington 8, Notre Dame 9, Alabama ranking in at 10, Tennessee 11, Utah 12, Oregon 13, LSU 14, Kansas State 15, Oregon State 16, Mississippi 17, Colorado's coming in at 18, Oklahoma 19, UNC 20, Duke 21, University of Miami 22, Washington State 23, UCLA 24, Iowa 25. These are subject to change, so we wanted to give you those rankings. In the American Athletic Conference, you have Memphis, Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, Navy, Rice, SMU, South Florida, Temple, Tulane, Tulsa, UAB, UTSA, East Carolina, and North Texas. In the Atlantic Coast Conference, you have Duke, Louisville, Florida State, University of Miami, UNC, Syracuse, Wake Forest, Boston College, North Carolina State, Pittsburgh, Virginia Tech, Virginia, Clemson, and Georgia Tech. In the Big 12, BYU, Cincinnati, Kansas, Kansas State, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Texas, UCF, Houston, Iowa State, TCU, West Virginia, Baylor, and Texas Tech. Big 10, Big 10 East, Ohio State, Rutgers, Maryland, Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, Indiana. Big 10 West, okay, Big 10. Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, Purdue, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Nebraska. Conference USA, Liberty, Jackson State, LA Tech, WKU, Middleton, Sam Houston, FIU, New Mexico State, UTEP. Independence, FBS, you have Notre Dame, Army, UMass, and Connecticut. Mid-American East, Ohio, Akron, Bowling Green, Miami, Ohio, Buffalo, Kent State. Mid-American West, Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, Northern Illinois, Toledo, Western Michigan, Ball State. Mountain West, Air Force, Fresno State, Wyoming, San Diego State, New Mexico, UNLV, Utah State, Hawaii, San Jose State, Colorado State, Boise State, Nevada. Pac-12, USC, California, Colorado, Oregon, Oregon State, UCLA, Utah, Washington, Washington State, Arizona, Arizona State, California, and Stanford. Southeastern West, SEC, Arkansas, Auburn, Mississippi State, Mississippi, Alabama, LSU, Texas, A&M. SEC East, Georgia, Kentucky, Missouri, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Florida, South Carolina, Gamecocks, USC. Sunbelt East, Old Dominion, Georgia Southern, Georgia State, James Madison, Marshall, Appalachian State, Coastal. Sunbelt West, LA Monroe, South Alabama, Southern Miss, Texas State, Troy, Arkansas State, Louisiana. Stay locked in. So can we talk about the coaches right now? Let's have that conversation, everybody. Let me get some tea here to strengthen my throat, because it's been all sports all weekend. Let's go. Oh, do I need some tea to give you the tea for some of these coaches and how they're ranking. So keep it locked, everybody. All right, it's good to wet the palate. So let's just talk about it. We've been talking about it here last week, and I'm going to talk about it now. Jim Harbaugh, okay, on suspension, but he'll be coming. But until he comes, till he come around that Michigan mountain, everybody. Y'all can laugh now, but they're winning, okay? And they're doing it without their coach, and they're doing it for themselves and for their coach till their coach gets back. All right, so they're 2-0. There's nothing to really say about that. They are going to stay right there in the fight, and they're going to see about getting that 3-0. Florida State. What are we doing talking about Florida State? Well, I'll tell you what. Could they be a contender? There's a possibility. But their team looks good, no doubt about it. Their dominance, the cohesiveness. So I'm going to be on the lookout for that. Now, as I said before, Ohio State, despite everything, many people are just like, still a little shaky. I'm still a little shaky about Ohio State. Well, you can be shaky, but guess what? Their performance is there, and they're in the conversations of many. To see that their offense is doing good, their defense is doing good, you know, Buckeye fan base and anybody else fan base, stop going in shambles and freaking out. I hate to sound like a broken record, but we're early, everybody. We're early. Ohio's never really let you down like that, even though they might look a little shaky, but everybody's looking a little shaky despite their wins. Because in the beginnings, you know, I would say right there, going into the 6th week, hey, 1 through 5, you can clean stuff up, get yourself together, make plays, see what weakness needs to be, addressed, see what you need to improve on, make some changes, make some adjustments. And this is what's happening. I don't see a problem anywhere with Ohio. All right, USC, California. When you want to just keep talking about seasons, we're just too early for that. But listen, they're dominant. Got their victories. And I really don't have too much to say about it. We're going to see what USC does. I mean, 56-10 with Stanford. Yardages look good. Got their trade touchdowns. I mean, let's just lock it in and see what happens. Texas. Everything's better in Texas. That's what they say. But now, Longhorn fans, no need for you to go in shambles or feel any kind of way. Let them play. You got 1 through 6. Start panicking by 5 if something seems like adjustment. You just never know. But it's too early. It's too early to go into shambles. All right, so I'm keeping a lookout for Texas and just kind of see what they do, see what those Longhorns are doing. I don't see anything wrong that they're doing. I mean, the yardages are right there for Quinn Ewers, and I'm not doing any punching bags. All right, Penn State. Penn State faced off with Delaware. I always say just keep a lookout for them. If you want to kind of start talking trash talk, it's not right now. When they go up and play against Ohio and Michigan, then we can see where it all starts to go up or down for them. Washington. Sometimes it's the quiet storm and it's not always the fanfare, okay? I would take a look at Washington and their quietness. There's some more out there that's kind of quiet too. Tennessee, where seeing 30-13. They did with Austin, PA. Defense is pretty good. The offense, a little slower, but again, week 1, week 2, coming into week 3. Let's not stop panicking and going into any kind of shambles or obliterations to getting up out of week 5. I think their defense was pretty good. Offensive coach needs to take a look at some things, but nothing to be like, oh my God. Okay. Despite what we're seeing, Alabama, that could be for some people, but they could take L's like everybody else. They could take those L's. So what you see? Well, they're still in that top 10 right there. We just talked about that. Oh, what can you say? I mean, Milroe, he did go for 255 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. But then that's when the daggers came in. You know what I mean? Interceptions. 2 of them. But I don't think that they're out. I think that Crimson Tides has a lot to do between now going out of game 5, well, week 5, game 5, and then going into 6. And I think they can make those adjustments there. So that 10 is not bad. So fans, hang in there. Do your talk on your boards, on your social medias. But we're just getting in the good footings here for the season. So let's panic and look at your team with not half empty, but half full. Keep it locked. So here's an icebreaker right here. If you're looking at Division 1 and 2 football games, here is the NCAA clock rule. All right? The clock no longer stops after teams get their first downs unless it's the last 2 minutes of the half. Do you have some people who feel in some kind of way and they don't like that? Well, one did speak out, and that was some of the headlines, and that was Coach Chip Kelly. But you have others out there who may feel the same way. But it is what it is. I think that NCAA thought pretty well-rounded before they made that full-on decision. So, you just have to, go with it. Be positive as much as you can about it. Be optimistic as much as you can be. Have some kind of objective about it. And, just go from there. We can whine about a lot of things, but that's not one to really, really whine about. Play your solid football and, just keep it pushing. That's it. Find a workaround. All right, keep it locked. So, between everything else that's going on, a lot of the chatter that people are talking about with Alabama seeming to not have that shining bright lights. Georgia is sitting there pretty dominant. They're going to be facing off with South Carolina. That's coming up this weekend. It's going to be in Georgia. And so people have already gotten their picks in exactly what's going to happen. A lot of people are going to give that favor to the Bulldogs over the Gamecocks. Gamecocks are feeling pretty good about Furman. They did take that L to UNC at the season opener. But you never know what's going to happen. But I know that with Georgia, they're not going to try and let anybody come in and dominate, especially home field advantage. So doesn't say that it can't happen. Might have to get the really good playbooks out there and get those alternative 1-2-3s, get those downs, get those plays, and you just never know what will happen. But the favor right now is going to be with Georgia, but we'll have to see. We're going to have to see. SEC. Y'all like my little pun? Keep it locked, everybody. Stay locked in with me, BB Davis, for BB Love Sports, where sports and gaming is exquisite fusion. All right, so what we're going to do right now, we're going to clear up for those who wasn't not clear with the whole Nebraska back and forth and with Colorado back and forth, okay? So let's talk about it. All right, here we go, everybody. The Buffaloes victor over the Huskers, all right? 36-14. Quarterback Shedeur Sanders, he made his statements, okay? He was saying that he had all respect gone for the program after Coach Rule, he said, spoke very shabbily of his father, Coach Deion Sanders, and this was ahead of the game. Now, what did Rule have to say? He said that he disagreed with Shedeur's statements, saying he never disrespected an opponent a day in his life, okay? But Shedeur just said he did not appreciate the Cornhuskers meeting on the Buffs' midfield logo prior to the game, and then Rule addressed everything, stating that it was a moment for praying time, okay, and that he invited Colorado to join them. Now, did we get any response back from Shedeur on that? Nothing. But on Saturday, we're going to give you the quote by quote. It was extremely personal. We go out there and warm up. You got the head coach of the other team trying to stand out in the middle of the buff. It's okay if, like, a couple of players do it. It's fine. Like, just enjoy the scenery. But when you've got the whole team trying to disrespect it, I'm not going for that at all. I went in there and I disrupted it. So they knew I'm for real. The Buffaloes mean a lot to me personally. That's just what he had to say. He was like, personally, that's what I was saying pregame, and that's when I knew it was just extreme disrespect. Now, let's go back a ways, everybody, when Shedeur, his father, were over in the HBCU at Jackson State. Y'all remember this? Let's talk about this moment. Just a little memory rain. Check, 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 check. Deion came in to Alabama. That whole going and shake each other's hand and push off. Listen, those young men for Alabama, they cussed out Deion because he walked through their huddle. He was just doing a walk through the perimeter, he said. He said it wasn't no disrespect. They took it as disrespect. He said it's what he normally does. But most coaches do that walk when there's nobody out on the field. Players were already assembled on the field. He does a walk through. They found it disrespectful. They found that he was trying to do an intimidation. So a lot of them, they went off. So now we got this whole, seems like spit in the block, karma. It'll come around and bite you one way or the other. I don't think that Shedeur needs to answer back about what Rule is saying about they came on the field for prayer and they invited them. If Shedeur takes that as disrespect and he's not buying what the coach is saying, then obviously there were vibes there that he felt that none of us as sportcasters, and if he wasn't there, or even if you were there, that you didn't feel. But then let's rewind back when the same thing happened to another school, and it was his father that walked through, and they felt like it was disrespect no matter what his response was. Take care. Karma spins that block no matter how we like it. Okay, so there it is. Just a little throwback there, so we could have some memory lanes there. But we'll keep it going. And we'll go from there. Stay locked in. And just for clear understanding, when I say Alabama, I'm talking about Alabama State, and I'm talking about Eddie Robinson, the coach. That whole handshake incident and the whole Deion walking through his team to walk the perimeter of the field, and they felt like it was disrespect. So, we want to definitely make sure that it's all clarity. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, all clarity and all love. That's over. But then look how quick you see somewhat of the same thing of someone feeling disrespected. But they're balling. Colorado's balling. So stay locked in. Now I had something come to my feed. Everybody, we're doing some short takes here. Where are we talking? Like, why in the world? Let me get some tea. Why in the world are we talking about Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide's successor? Headlines are throwing in Deion Sanders' name. Listen, let's not talk about it. That's why I'm giving the thumb down. Not that he could. I'm talking about it's too early for that. Too early for that talk. Too early. What is going on? We got a lot of sport news out here.
Oh my God.
Than to be talking about that. But that's what ran to my sport feed.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
oh my God.
Not we're talking about Nick Saban's successor at this point. Really?
Oh my God. Totally fabulous.
I just had to step back myself, and I was like, this whole article is in shambles. The whole wire that came my way is in pure shambles. Oh my goodness. Let Nick Saban do his thing, and it will be a whole lineup of people. Y'all reaching. Hold on. Stay locked in. Stay locked in. All right. And so before I end this segment, I wanted to give a shout out to all the women who stand by their children for football season. And in the midst of it all, whether you're married or whether you're divorced or separated or just, whatever your status is, I think it's a joy to see women stand by their children in sports and be that sport mother and there to support. So we're going to give a shout out right now. We're going to give that shout out to Pilar Sanders, the former wife of Coach Sanders. She has two sons on that Colorado team, Shiloh and Shador. And, she's been really, really great about supporting them. She also has her daughter there at Colorado, Shalomi. So I think it's just great, her enthusiastic support, because children need that. And I love her relationships with all three of her children. And of course, if you've been in that segment on either side as a child or as a mother, you have your own niche with each child, and I just love that. I love seeing how Shador loves his mom and they interact. I love how Shiloh interacts with Pilar and Shalomi. I love to see how she interacts with her mom. And you need that kind of mom. She's not overbearing, but she is a proud mama, and I do love that. And I think it's healthy for children, whether or not the parents are together, and that you can do it amicably and you can do it classy. So shout out to Pilar Sanders, and shout out to all the sport mothers out there on any level holding it down for your children. And of course, you pops, shout out to you all too, the fathers holding it down, and just to the family period that holds it down for their children in sports, seeing their dreams come true and seeing them have healthy, great attitudes as they go forth in the sports world. So yeah, shout out. They need that support. All right, everybody. This is the segment that ends right here. We'll have more segments to come. If you like the style format, let me know. You can hit me up on the social medias on Instagram. You can hit me up on X, formerly known as Twitter. And you can also hit me up right here on YouTube on the comments. So keep it locked, everybody, with BB Love Sports, where sports and gaming is exquisite fusion. We'll be back for more.